If you're anything like me and you aim to improve and get better every single day, you want to be the absolute best at everything you do, and as I like to say, be a champion in every arena of life, then the number one framework, or one of my number one frameworks, mental frameworks specifically, that I use every single day in order to basically get better, like that whole saying of like get 1% better every day and so on. One of the number one things that I implement is the idea, which by the way, I'm not trying to like steal quotes here because I heard Wes Watson say this first, but regret is your guideline. And what he means by that, and what the way that I use it, is that most of the time, like we already know, we already have the knowledge that we need in order to improve and get better in most areas of our life. And one of the obviously decisions we need to make every day in order to get better is literally to learn new things. And it's a decision in order to do that, because you obviously have to decide to sit down, take the time to, whether it, be in school, go in college, going through maybe going through an online course, working with your mentor or your coach or whatever, or even like hiring someone, to work with that you can learn from, or even just sitting in front of YouTube like this and listening to, people who know what they're talking about and learning from them and stuff. Like, it's a decision to do that and get better. But going back to the main point, like, regret is your guideline. Every single day, what I do is at the end of the day, even throughout the day, and then the next day, like, I'll just think back and think, okay, what is it that I regret? And I don't usually like to regret anything. Like, I don't want to have any regrets. Like, everything that happens, like if I decided to do something and it didn't go very well, I still consciously decided to do that thing. So regardless of the outcome, I decided to do it. So instead of like regretting it and everything, I'm just going to look back and be like, you know what? That didn't go the way that I had hoped, but here's the lesson I learned from it. Or maybe it was just an experience that I got that added to the story and book of my life. So I try not to regret really anything. However, I still use the idea that Wes Watson talks about of this whole regret is your guideline, because basically I look back and I'm like, okay, what are the things that maybe I did or didn't do yesterday or last week or last month? It's easier to look back at literally just yesterday, but what are the things that I did do or didn't do yesterday that I regret? And literally, you basically can just learn lessons from that and immediately improve today or the next day based off of it. And what I'm talking about is like when you look back, and this is very, very simple to do. It's just most people, they don't do it, and I didn't do it either until I learned this concept. But maybe looking back, you're like, you know what? I regret sleeping in and not getting up when the alarm went off and hitting snooze. Okay, well then today or tomorrow or whatever, don't hit snooze and get up when the alarm goes off, and boom, you just improved in that particular area. Maybe you look back and you're like, you know what? I regret not going to the gym, or I regret not pushing as hard at the gym yesterday. Well, you know what? Today, make sure you go to the gym, and when you go, make sure to give it your all and give it your full effort. And then maybe you look back yesterday and you're like, man, there was that really good looking girl sitting across from me at the coffee shop who I didn't end up going up and talking to. Like, I really regret that. So moving forward, whenever you're put in a situation like that where you see the really good looking woman near you or whatever and you want to talk to her, go up and talk to her. Like, it's really just about, you look back and you think, okay, what is it that I regret doing or not doing? And then it's like, all right, I'm going to basically just do the opposite of that, or I'm going to start doing that, or I'm going to stop doing that. Like, you can even look back and be like, I really regret drinking last night. It's like, okay, well then don't drink anymore, or at least don't drink like you did last night. Or maybe you're like, man, I really regret going and partying with those buddies who I always seem to get into trouble with, or just it never seems to end well. It's like, you know what? It's tough, but maybe stop hanging out with those people. Like, cut those people out. Like, they're anchors holding you down, or like the crabs in a bucket thing. As soon as one crab tries to crawl out of the bucket and reach freedom, all the other crabs are grabbing, pulling him back down. So sometimes you got to make those tough decisions of cutting people out. But regardless, like, the main point here is regret is your guideline. Like, most people, including myself in the past, I think we make the excuse even just in our head that is like, yeah, but I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to get in shape, or I don't know why I'm feeling so shitty, or I don't know why I can't get up in the morning, or I don't know why I'm not productive, or whatever. Whereas you actually do freaking know. And one of the ways to find out if you really don't think you know is just look back and think about the things that maybe you regret that you did or didn't do, and then just learn from those. And it's kind of just a simple just flip. And what I mean is, it's like, okay, I didn't get up when the alarm went off yesterday. I'm going to start getting up when the alarm goes off. I didn't go to the gym yesterday. I'm going to start going to the gym. I drank last night, alcohol. I'm not going to drink alcohol anymore. I didn't work on my business very hard yesterday. I'm going to work harder on it. I didn't make the 100 cold calls that I told myself I was going to do yesterday. I'm going to go make 100 cold calls today, or 150 or whatever. Like, it works with everything. And it's so simple, yet like you don't know until you don't know, or you don't know what you don't know, even if it's something super simple like this. But once you understand it and you actually start using it, it is such a powerful tool, because then you can, instead of like regretting things and feeling bad about yourself or feeling bad about these things and everything, you can simply just learn from them. And kind of like I said towards the beginning, like, I make sure not to regret anything, because I just look at whatever it is I did, like whether it was a good decision, bad decision, whether it went well, didn't go well, or whatever it is. I just look at it and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to learn from that and figure in it. Maybe it was just an experience that added to the story of my life, like I said, or pretty much every time there is a lesson to pull from it. And then you can kind of use that as your guideline moving forward, so that it doesn't happen again, or whatever it was, it goes better. Or if you didn't do what you said you were going to do, you start doing that thing. So overall, like, regret is your guideline. Just try and use this framework moving forward, and just every single day, like every morning, to be honest, just think back to yesterday and be like, you know what do I regret from yesterday? Like, what did I do or did I not do? And then once you think about that and you think about what you regret, then just focus on making sure that you don't end today with those same regrets. And as long as you do that every day, eventually you'll get to the point where there's not a single thing that you look back and regret. And at that point, it's really just about like most likely at that point, the situation you're in, I'm not saying you're going to be like in your dream situation and your vision and everything's going well. However, most likely, if you can't say you regret anything from yesterday, that probably means that you've got your killer habits in line, and you're hitting your habits every day. You're hitting the gym, you're waking up on time, you're getting your work done. Like, every time you tell yourself that you're going to do something, you end up doing it, and so on. Like, you've got all of that working, which I'm going to be honest, like lately, that's kind of how I've been. Like, looking back, there's really only a couple things that I would really change when I look back at my previous days. And that's like a great feeling, because I know, okay, at least in the moment, with the knowledge I currently have and what I know about, say, my business or whatever it is I'm working on, I know that I am doing everything that I believe I need to be doing. So like, I'm hitting my workouts, I'm waking up on time, I'm putting in the work and the inputs that I know, at least right now, that I believe are the right inputs to do for me to get the outputs that I want. And over time, like, the dots will continue to connect. Just like Steve Jobs said, you can't connect the dots looking forwards, you can only connect them looking backwards. So over time, the dots will continue to connect more and more. And since I've got my habits and my discipline and everything in check, and when I'm looking back, there really isn't anything I'm regretting, then that means I'm going to move forward a lot quicker. And as the dots connect, I will adjust and adapt to the new things that I learn and the new ways that I learn to approach certain stuff, and I'll take action on it. Whereas if I was still in that stage where I'm not waking up on time, I'm not hitting my workouts, I'm not putting in the work and the inputs that I need to because I'm being lazy and I'm not disciplined, then the dots are probably not going to connect moving forward, because I'm not doing the work that I need to do now in order for the dots to connect. Hopefully that's making sense. And aside from that, even if the dots did start to connect and the opportunities started to present themselves, I'm not the person, the who could actually take advantage of it. Like, that's, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but that's another point that I also learned from Wes Watson, is it's not about the how, it's about the who. Like, once you become the person who is disciplined and capable of actually achieving what it is that you want, then it's only a matter of, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Like, it's not a matter of if you're going to do it and achieve it. It's just a matter of when. Because as long as every day you're putting in the necessary inputs and you're hitting your habits and you're disciplined and you're that person, then over time the dots are just going to continue to connect until you get to where you're looking to go. Whereas if you don't have the who down, like you could give like a Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Alex Hormozi, like any of these guys could literally just hand a particular guy, they could literally just hand them the exact blueprint for, hey, here's how to go build $1 million business, and here is $1 million for you to start with that you can use to start up the business. If the person they hand that to is lazy, not disciplined, they can't like sit down to do work for 5 minutes before getting distracted, and all they want to do is sit on their ass and watch Netflix all day. They don't go to the gym. They can't wake up on time. They sleep till noon. Like, what's the likelihood of that person ever being able to, even with the blueprint, the money, and the guidance from these legitimate people, like even with all that, even with the how, that person is not the who could actually go and do it. So, little food for thought there, but I'll end it with that. Just overall, remember, now I implemented another thing into this video I wasn't even planning to mention, but it's about the who, not the how. So become that person who's actually capable of achieving what it is that you want. And aside from that, regret is your guideline. Just look back and think, like, what do I regret from yesterday? And then just make sure to focus today on not ending the day with those same regrets. As long as you do that, you will get better every single day. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to subscribe. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.